Hey, here we are. It's been a while since we did one of these, but we had, let's see, Comic Con. The big Comic Con was over the weekend, last weekend, I think, recently, San Diego. And Marvel didn't show up, but they had two, DC ruled the show. And they brought some big premieres, and I wanted to talk with you about that.
Yep.
So I just made, Alex hates trailers, and I just made him watch Aquaman and Shazam. Which one do you want to talk about first?
Um, well, let's go in the order that you showed them. Shazam, and then
Okay.
Aquaman.
Yeah, Aquaman. All right.
So,
So what did you think? What was your first impression of the trailer?
um, the
Oh.
first thing that I was thinking of was, in Deadpool 2 of like, man, are you from the wrong franchise? Aren't you supposed to be much more grittier?
Well, they're changing it.
Yeah.
Which is
But,
evident by both trailers.
Right. I mean, it's just like Shazam was very lighthearted, very. I mean, it's a kid that gets superpowers.
Yeah.
And it's like the actor that's playing Shazam
Yeah.
just feels like a big kid.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
And
I want to also mention this bugged me for some reason because you wanted to recenter these things, and these things are actually in a position the way they're because we're about to record a commentary on the Thunder Frog, so
spoilers.
Yeah, spoilers. So it has to be like this. So tough if you don't like our centering. Actually, yeah, I know it's my fault. I wanted to say though, so I recently checked out Young Justice a few months ago because there was talk about the new season, and everybody seemed like was talking about it. So I'm like, I'd never seen that show. So it's on,
I did during the original run during when
and
Cartoon Network actually had it going on first on Fridays, then on Saturdays, then just never did more than just one showing of it.
Well, I had never watched it because there's just too much stuff. But I did watch it, and the reason I'm bringing it up is I thought it was interesting where the adult chaperone they had for a while was Shazam, and I thought it was interesting that all the leaguers in that show are very dead serious characters.
Yeah.
And you got Shazam visibly like, hey y'all, kind of, I mean, not like that, but he's very very juvenile, very like there's no effing way that Batman did not figure out that he was really a kid.
Right.
Because like nobody would act like that, and I actually liked the presentation of this version of Shazam didn't come off childish like the one in Young Justice, and I really like that.
No, I get you. I mean, there was definitely a different kind of feel of Billy within the Young Justice version, where he was very much like a kid. And I mean, it's like
Very
the only
much a
other
kid.
person that I could think that acted maybe even more goofy than him was Plastic Man.
Well, what was weird about it is in Young Justice. Again, we're talking about something other than what we're reviewing.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, when he was a kid, he acted more mature than he was when he was Captain Marvel. Shazam. But in this one, it's kind of like you've seen Big, right?
Yeah.
Because this is being compared to the superhero version of Big, and the adult actor comes off like an adult pretending to be a kid badly. Like he doesn't, but yet it's still like it's believable and entertaining. He just doesn't seem like he's a kid. But they also have a kid who had to mature quickly in
Right.
this one, where he's so they're drawing from the New 52 origin,
Mm.
and the costume is from what I've gathered is a fusion of elements from the classic costume from the original
I
comics
do-
and the New 52.
I do like that concept of that kind of makes it feel like it gives it its own unique life, but at the same time it takes inspirations from
Well,
the things that come before.
But it also, because it has because the New 52 version has the hood, right?
Oh,
the cape with the hood, and I think they went with the shorter cape to honor the original Captain Marvel design. If you didn't know, he was originally called Captain Marvel, and then when the comic book, I think it was Fawcett Comics, had gone out of business, even though it was like, it's weird because Captain Marvel actually used to outsell Superman, and then DC had sued them over it. It was super bullshit because it was like, who's the better hero? Anyways, DC ends up owning Captain Marvel after they bought Fawcett Comics, but Fawcett Comics goes out of business. The trademark lapses, and that's when Marvel's lawyers discovered it lapsed. They're like, snap that shit up right now, and then that's why they had to change its name to Shazam after the fact. But because the original one, which we see in Kingdom Come, he has the sash on, which he doesn't have in this one. But he has elements of the original costume and the elements of the New 52 costume, and I think some in between elements as well. So because he doesn't have like the button up thing on the uniform this time, like he originally did.
Well, I think it's definitely going to be interesting to see how doing a much lighthearted movie, at least from the get-go of like doing a lighthearted movie. But because it feels like DC has been doing that very edgy kind of
that
attitude, and then
that's been talked about way too much.
Right. But
did you see the Batarang?
No,
because I've seen some trailer breakdowns, and so there's a Batarang in there. There's also a bullet that bounced off Superman with a certificate of authenticity.
Oh, and
there's also a comment on the Justice League fight. So this movie is in continuity.
No,
and with it all. So.
Okay.
They're just changing the tone. So
this is happening while
it's right after.
Oh, okay.
What happened in Justice League?
So that's going to be interesting. So so we have one movie that's basically just moving forward within the timeline, and then a prequel with Aquaman.
Aquaman, yes, looks like it's going to be a prequel, and we know that Wonder Woman's also going to be a prequel too. It takes place in the 80s.
Right. But as Aquaman goes, it's definitely interesting, and definitely doesn't have that greedy, dark look as much.
Let's just make sure we're wrapped up with Shazam, though, because
sure,
the trailer. Are you excited to see the movie from the trailer?
Yeah.
Your usual reaction.
Yeah.
Well, I'm pretty pumped. It looks like a fun movie, and I'm really looking forward to it. There's also something else too, which is interesting. So I was listening to some YouTube video where a guy was breaking down contractual obligations that Marvel has.
Yeah.
Where you have to be a superhero in real life, and they require you to do charity work, and you have to go through extensive background checks, and all these things. So they don't want people that are gonna be like, oh well, they get caught beating their wife, and now Marvel has to fire the actor, and now they can't make more Captain America movies.
Right.
But they also have their non-compete deal, where when you sign on with Marvel with your contract, you're with the franchise until you're done, but you cannot go over to DC.
Oh, interesting.
Right. Now, but that may only apply to their marquee actors, because I don't know if you noticed this, but the guy playing the Wizard Shazam, because the Wizard calls himself Shazam, who gives the power to Captain Marvel Shazam, right? He's got the voice of a Marvel character.
Sure. Okay.
Do you remember Guardians of the Galaxy? Too well? Right, the first one?
Oh.
The guy with the cybernetic shit on his head. And
I can
finger to the throat means death, and rip that shit out of his head. That's the guy playing Shazam, the black dude.
Okay. I can definitely.
He's like, Star-Lord. Who? Star-Lord, man. So it's that dude. And it's funny because they do not show his face in the trailer.
Right.
I think somebody at the legal department is like, don't be an idiot.
Yeah.
Marvel's gonna have a fit because that actor is also going to be in that actor is in this Captain Marvel movie, the Shazam Captain Marvel movie, and he's going to be in the Marvel Captain Marvel movie. Because it's a prequel taking place in the 80s, he's going to be back, and so is going to be Ronan the Accuser, as well as Nick Fury and so forth.
Cool.
So that'd be interesting. He's in both Captain Marvel movies. Yeah. All right, now, okay.
I think Aquaman. That... all right, so Aquaman. I was saying...
By the way, fun fact. Okay, so there's a show called The Collectibles, which is on YouTube. You should totally check it out. It's a superheroes meet the office. They have we know the guy that created the show. We're friends with him, but there's a character in their version of the Justice League who's the Hispanic Aquaman, named Aguaman.
Yeah.
and it's kind of hard to not think of Aquaman when you look at the Jason Momoa. Did you get to see the whole show of The Collectibles?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Or at least it's been long enough
Yeah.
that it's probably time to do a rewatching.
Yeah. In the first issue of this comic book I'm working on, which hopefully coming out soon, this one character has an Aquaman lunchbox. Aquaman's great. Okay, so Aquaman looks amazing.
Yeah, Jason Momoa looks amazing.
Yeah, of course he does. He's Jason Momoa. But it's funny, I was just watching Stargate Atlantis today with Jason Momoa, which is where I know him from. So are you excited for the movie from watching the trailer?
Yeah, I'd be up for giving a couple of bucks to Jason Momoa.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, as the overall movie, I mean, it's like, I don't know, it's like in one hand, it's an origin story, which is like, it's going to be either a fantastic retelling, or it's going to be like, wow, Batman lost his parents.
Well,
again,
I mean, losing your parents is pretty much par for the course of superheroes.
I get it, but I mean, there's a certain part where it's like, as somebody that reads comics and watches cartoons and watches movies with people in spandex and plays video games that has these characters
and occasionally a superhero in an RPG.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, the point is, it's like all of those, you get like all these stories multiple times over, and it's that kind of level of yeah, that's cool to like see this interpretation of like Batman versus
The dog.
Superman was like a great like retelling of Bruce Wayne's story once again.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like I've already seen multiple incarnations of like the previous people that have played him.
Well, but this, of course, we're talking about Aquaman. This is the first time like Aquaman's had his own movie, which is
big screen. Yeah,
kind of amazing that it's Aquaman, and to be so pumped up like this. And I also actually it does feel kind of a little bit more special and interesting for us, given the fact that we actually know Jason Momoa. Like, we got to meet him,
and I mean, to be honest,
so
that's like
cool.
more my interest of Long Beach, California. The two of us went there, and
God,
it was
what
like
a cluster hump. So you might probably, I'm sure we mentioned this in another video, but like you may remember the biblical level storm that they had in California some time back, which was made worse by the fact that
the way that they explained it.
Yeah, well, they don't have the infrastructure for it like we do here in Washington.
Well, it's kind of like the fact of in Florida you have air conditioning, but you don't necessarily have a heater, and like here you have heaters, but you don't necessarily have air conditioning.
Yeah, and this is one of the worst summers we've had in ages. Like,
but
2 weeks straight of just sweating all day, and there's no AC.
But that's my point of like, when you're watching this video right now, it's been hotter than usual for Washington, and that strange orb has actually been out there following us and scaring us. Yeah. Well, where normally rain comes.
Well, it was wild because it's like everybody should remember those big drainage ditches from Terminator 2 where they had the truck chasing the motorcycle. I remember riding on the train. I don't know if you got to see this, but I was riding on the train and I was looking over and I've seen those things, and it was a raging river.
Yeah.
And it was so bad that if you had gone swimming in it, you would have died. And it was very... yeah. And anyway, so nobody showed up to the show. Like, we went to this Comic-Con and it was completely empty. Nobody was there. And
the numbers that they were expecting were pretty much...
but the news had convinced everybody that the city was flooded.
Yeah, like
it wasn't even a fifth. I would surprise me if 2,000 people had even showed up for the whole weekend.
Right.
And
but anyway, so like during part of it, there was this awesome part, and with Jason Momoa.
So because nobody was at the show,
he's walking around, and he's got this presence.
Yeah,
and it's like
he's as tall in real life as you'd think he would be.
Woody does wood, as you probably know. He did this picture of Jason Momoa as Aquaman.
It's actually in my car. I probably should have had it here for the video.
Yeah, really.
I'm going to scroll through my phone here until I find it. But so he signed it. It was freaking awesome.
Yeah, it was just great. Of like, he just had this great presence. He had this great attitude of like that. Wow, this is really cool. This is me. It's like, And Woody's saying like, "Hey, can I get a couple of pictures? Can
Yeah, and Alex couldn't get the camera working fast enough.
yeah,
But
21st century.
We were surrounded
anyways,
by people, so
Luckily, there was other people that were taking pictures. But
oh yeah,
I mean, did you even ask him to sign it, or was it just like he took an initial?
I did.
Okay,
I did. Yeah. Okay, so I found the picture, and it's not that this is not the signed photographs. Is that? Yeah. Okay. Let me. Sorry. Getting the lighting balance right on these things is always tricky.
Right.
So this is what I did. Hard to.
Ooh, glare!
I know. So I would burn that. It's really big. Whatever the case. But yeah, it's huge, and I've got pictures of him signing it, so you can see that right there. We actually met him. It's the real deal. So, anyways.
But yeah, I mean, the real cool part was just like his attitude, the way that he was. I mean, he just seemed like
what
he was definitely enjoying the fact of like going around.
Yeah.
Buying little action figures of himself, and also just
well, he would never get to enjoy a comic.
Yeah.
And also what got me, by the way, just Alex wouldn't give two shits about this, but it's like in Stargate he had this tattoo on his arm, and apparently he has it for real. That's a real tattoo he has, which they took the tattoo, and I think that's the inspiration for the body tattoo design he has in the movie, because they took that tattoo and did it all over his body. I can't imagine how long that must take to put on him. But that's it is, like, all those tattoo designs are based upon the one he got for Stargate. So okay, so let's get back to the movie, because this is not the underwater movie you would expect, right? Like they're talking underwater, everything is colorful and looks amazing. There's lots of CGI mermen, which look just good enough. They're riding sharks into battle.
Ariel and everything's in there.
Yeah,
I mean, granted she has two legs, but it's
my
awesome.
God, they've got to.
And I mean, Ariel jumps out of a plane. It's really cool.
It's Mira.
Sure.
I wonder if they're going to have anything with a with a crab. There's got to be a crab in there as a. But yeah, it's okay. Personally, though, for me, the one that steals the show is Black Manta, because it's comic accurate, but they did shrink the head just a little bit on the helmet, because a gigantic helmet like that would be kind of ridiculous. But they made it just big enough to be accurate to the comic books, and yet small enough to be practical. But the energy blast coming out of that thing, oh my God, it looks amazing. Like I am in just for Black Manta alone.
No, I totally get it. And it's like the first that I can really say that I really have any kind of interest towards it is like that Black Manta, but it's almost to a certain regard kind of off-putting, only because of Young Justice. Like the actor and the way that he was done in Young Justice, Black Manta was amazing. Like, yeah, he had almost the big head and everything, but I mean, it was like the voice actor, the way that it was, the cartoon was drawn was just amazing. Well, like this doesn't look too bad.
Well, what's interesting about it is that, like, the classic look, you want the classic look, but it doesn't always work, because some of these things, like, there's a reason why the X-Men had black outfits in the original movies. Like, costumes don't work, until Marvel proved they worked. But it's like sometimes these outfits don't look good in real life.
Well, I mean, like, if you take a look at going off topic here, of course, Captain America, the one done with the current MCU, and then you take a look at like the 1990s version that was done, or 1980.
Well, the thing is the MCU took the effort to make sure that it looked like it would work.
Yes, yeah, but I mean, there was a previous movie that just looked.
There were actually a couple.
There was a couple. Oh,
yeah. Okay. Because like Ocean Master, I'm not an expert on his look, but I know he's got a distinctive helmet, faceplate, and he's probably going to have that faceplate. I think everything else will be whatever, but like the faceplate, I think Mira's look looks pretty accurate to the comic book. She looks good. Aquaman's totally redesigned, but yeah, I mean, like I've heard it said that Black Manta pretty much has the most badass look imaginable. I would never have thought that the helmet would work in real life, and it totally does. Like that's an amazing look. And
well, I think that's that level of
Atlantis.
Well, it's like that creative staff that looking to basically take the inspiration from what the source material is, but obviously make it work for the current medium.
Well, it looks like they're finally getting their act together and following what Marvel did, and they're starting to understand what their heroes need to be. So, it's looking pretty badass. Okay, so in every one of these videos, we've talked about Deadpool 2, and I had predicted that Deadpool 2 would make $1 billion. It looks like it's almost at the end of its theatrical run right now.
Yeah.
So we're looking at $731.6 million off a $110 million budget that they've admitted to. That's a hell of a profitable movie.
Yeah.
Shoot, dang. That's all I want to say about it. It just is that's, pretty amazing.
Did you want to check up on like some of the others?
Not really.
They're probably past their prime.
It's like Avengers and Avengers actually. That's a good question actually, because they were saying that Avengers Infinity War might hit $2 billion. So I know that Black Panther definitely hit $1 billion. Infinity. For some reason, this says Infinity Ward comes up when you're looking through this. Oh yeah, 2 billion solid, 2.44 Yeah, so that's it. Yeah.
So it will definitely be interesting to see like how Shazam and Aquaman work.
I will say though that I'm excited for these because it's a new direction and it looks like they're going to be really good movies, but who knows, we'll have to see when we get there.
Right.
But I'm really fired up over Marvel's Captain Marvel movie. That one, we're a couple months away from a trailer, I think, but that movie's going to be pretty awesome. Okay, so switch gears. So surprise announcement, about 48 hours ago, the shareholders from Fox officially approved the buyout.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's kind of funny because people are like, it's official, and it kind of wasn't. But it apparently they just it was actually on Friday when I think when they did the vote, and so it's Friday night.
Oh, so the 27th.
Something like that. I don't want to go look how I did. So it's been roughly 48 hours since the vote happened.
But also mentioning that for the internet people because just because we're doing it on Sunday night.
Oh yeah, no, we're a little late to the party.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, but yeah, that's. This is when we could record it, but
right.
That's really interesting because so as I understand it, there are still a number of regulatory issues to pass. They have to do paperwork, file paperwork, do everything, and I guess there's actually. Somebody was saying that there's, I was listening to the Nerdist version, and they had mentioned that there's apparently a couple other countries left to weigh in because some of the assets are in other, Fox owns Sky TV or something, in Britain, which is their version of Sci-Fi, and so we have to they because some of the assets are European versions of what we have, they still have to go through. Regulatory for some of that. So it might end up being that they don't get to buy every piece. Some pieces of the company may not come with the deal. But the MCU essentially has everything now except for the Incredible Hulk, She-Hulk, and whatever Universal has, and Namor. Yeah, the Hulk universe and Namor are owned by Universal. However, there is another hurdle, which not a lot of people are talking about, but apparently Fox never actually owned Fantastic Four.
Oh.
Some European, German company, film company, actually owns the Fantastic Four rights. And they're the ones that got Harvey Korman to make that shitty movie so that they wouldn't lose them.
Oh, wow.
And so Fox had been picking up the license from them. So the thing about it is... Okay. Hey, Luke. How's it going, buddy? That's my ringtone, if anyone is curious. The victory ringtone for purchasing, the 20th Century Fox. No, but so the dissolution of Fox there's a question of how the contracts work. So if because like one of the questions that had been posed was that if Comcast had managed to successfully secure 20th Century Fox, which they didn't, if the contracts might have reverted back to Marvel, because it might not have been a transferable contract because of the language, because they wouldn't want Warner Brothers to buy Fox and then suddenly own the rights to the Marvel movies, right?
Right.
And so it's possible that absorbing 20th Century Fox also means they absorb all their contracts, which means that Marvel now has the contract with that company. Or Marvel has to go to them and secure a deal. I don't know why they wouldn't give it up. Okay, well, we'll play ball. Sure, we want to make $1 billion on a Fantastic Four movie. Yeah, we'll do that. I mean...
I mean, look at
it was
what was it? Sony with Spider-Man.
Well, they won't disclose the terms of the deal, but Sony paid an undisclosed amount of money to Marvel to get Marvel to make it, which is clearly enough money for Marvel to make Homecoming. Then Sony gets all the money from the ticket sales, but Marvel gets all the merchandise because Sony was stupid and gave it up. The Spider-Man merchandise rights. So that's a sweet deal for everybody.
Yeah.
And how much did Homecoming make? I will look that up real quick. I'm curious actually. Because, because Spider-Man was basically a damaged brand because of how Sony was handling it, and so they had rapidly declining ticket sales to the point where it would become totally non-viable. And given that and the debacle with the Ghostbusters, I'd say that Sony was probably a failing film company, and their only choice was to play nice with Marvel. They had no option. $880 million off of a $175 million budget.
Oh wow!
So they probably paid $300 or $400 million to Marvel, I would guess.
Yeah.
And then
getting
almost $1 billion, and it probably would have done better if Sony hadn't damaged it. But I would not be surprised if Homecoming. It's actually called Spider-Man Far From Home right now because part of it takes place in Europe.
Oh.
But Mysterio's going to be the villain. I think Jake Gyllenhaal's playing him.
Oh, okay.
But anyways, it would not be surprised if Spider-Man cleared $1 billion based upon what I see here.
Yeah, I mean, it's like they did a much more successful thing, and it's been much more popular. And I guess the big question comes up is how back-to-back movies get.
Yeah.
Because it's I do still kind of wonder when...
I just thought we could have
Avengers, Infinity War, then Deadpool 2, and Solo came out. It was almost kind of a rapid...
I swear Solo got screwed because it was too close to... You can't have three blockbusters in 1 month.
Right, and I kind of wonder, if that's a factor or...
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would have been hilarious to answer the phone and then have Luke on the review. Hey, Luke, we're recording a video. You want to join the conversation? It's crazy, the impact Marvel has. Obviously some people like certain movies better than others, and there's argument of which one's the worst movie. Their worst movie is better than most people's better movies. It's like a bad Marvel movie arguably is easily as good as the best good movie from any other franchise. It's they have no studios ever had 20 successes in a row. It's astounding.
Well, and I don't know. With some of the westerns, there's been some.
Yeah, but that's not a continuous franchise.
There has been some
20 movies in a row.
Okay, maybe.
Like A Fistful of Dollars had a few dollars more, and you could argue that Clint Eastwood is a franchise. And in which case, sure. But this is literally one studio that only exists to make the movies from a comic book line, and they're all part of one continuous continuity, and every one of them has been a smash hit, profitable, successful films, and they just keep getting bigger and bigger. So, blows me away. But now we have the question is Phase 4 going to be Phase 4 with a flaming 4? Like Fantastic Four.
Well, it's almost sounding like
it should be.
Yeah, well, I guess the big question comes up is, will it be done in time?
Will
all of this stuff, go through the pipeline and be able to actually be implemented, or
Well,
or is there people holding?
Well, here's what I know, is that if you go back about 5 years, okay, there was this big display. Here's our movie slate, right? Which that's the last time they did that, because that didn't really happen. But you'll notice that when Spider-Man added to the MCU, the Inhumans was kicked off.
Right.
We were going to get an Inhumans movie. You know what I mean? Inhumans movie would have been part of Infinity War, right? So
right, and part of the plan was, because not having mutants like the way that X-Men was,
right,
they were going to use the Inhumans,
which they have been doing, and they were trying. There was an active plan to destroy the X-Men brand, which didn't, that obviously didn't work. But like the Captain Marvel movie was supposed to be in Phase 3, that got bumped to Phase 4 because of Spider-Man, right? Well, the thing is they had a plan. Like, we know from the leaked emails from between Sony that they had a plan. Like, they were trying to do this deal behind the scenes, and they had a plan. If they got Spider-Man, they were going to do this. If they didn't get Spider-Man, then Black Panther would have had a bigger role in the movie, right? So I think that they do know what they're doing, but what they're going to do, right? They do have a Black Widow movie coming. They've actually been getting a script written for a Black Widow. We know there's going to be a Black Widow in Phase 4, and the plan was to go into space. Like, there's a lot more movies in space as well, and so that would be a Fantastic Four arrangement. But it could also be X-Men, because a lot of the better X-Men stories do take place in space. They got the Brood, the Shi'ar, all that stuff, right? So I think that they could have had a plan going. Plus, they also knew that the deal was, if it was going to go through, it was going to go through before Infinity War Part 2. So we could actually see a Galactus teaser or a Silver Surfer teaser potentially as an after credit scene, right? Like, or just another beeper with the Fantastic Four logo on it. But like, it's now a done deal. Like, I mean, they can't actually start making movies and planning until all the papers are signed. But right. All that's going to be done by the time Infinity War Part 2 is out.
Okay, so for like 2020, which is probably when a lot of these movies would be coming out anyways.
It takes about a 3 or 4 year runway for them to make these things. So they also got to get good scripts. They're going to be like, okay, we'll take 20 script ideas. Okay, those 18 suck. Okay, but we got some good stuff here. Who knows how soon we'll see it? I mean, the movies that are in development are already set. But I think that Phase 4 will probably see Fantastic Four. That's my prediction. Okay, well, I think that's it for this video. We're just over half an hour, so
yeah.
I guess we'll see you guys in the next one. And cannot wait to see the new DC movies coming out. They look amazing. Alex is like, yep.
Bye.
Yep.